Fit in 10 Nation, it is day 24 of the Fit in 10 Challenge, and we are third way through the challenge. Now, we are officially 1/3 way through the challenge, so you guys can see how fast this challenge goes. Listen, there's still a bunch of you who have not booked your scans with me. There's at least 8 of you who have not booked your scans with me. I'm going to reach out to you personally if I don't hear from you soon. We need to get you in. We do have a bit of a buffer between this scan and the next. So, for those of you who can't do it right now, that's okay. Being that we have 4 weeks between this scan and the third scan, so don't worry so much about that. But if you haven't booked and you haven't reached out to me, you need to do that. Okay, so let me know. All right, let's get into some questions. Now, listen, I talked about this on the weekend, and it was about processed foods, and aren't processed foods bad for you? And this is one of those things where it's not always the case. All right, so processing doesn't mean, there are things that aren't processed that can kill you, okay, that you can consume, or that maybe aren't so good for you, arguably speaking. And then there are things that are obviously processed that aren't good for you. But processing in and of itself doesn't mean that foods are bad. In general, yes, processed foods typically have a lot of nutrition stripped from them and a lot of additives that aren't so good for you, added to them. So that's where processing gets its bad name from. Processing in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, so generally speaking, cottage cheese, as an example, is a processed food. It's not a bad food. Vegetables that are cut, put in a package, they're processed. Okay, arguably, arguably being taken from the ground and then organized and shipped off, even having pesticides exposed to it, that is a certain level of process. That is a certain level of taking it from its natural state and away from its natural state. So these are all what I would consider to be processing. So the question is really, okay, has the food been processed? Yes. And if so, okay, how bad? How bad is the food now? Okay, so that's really what you need to look at. So it's not necessarily, well, that had some processing done to it, I must stay away from it. Okay, as a general rule, yes. So in the case of protein powder, this is what I usually get asked for. Protein powder is processed, so isn't it bad? No, I don't think it's bad. I mean, it depends on the powder, of course. So you want to, first look at a powder that's pure, okay, and that's basically, if it's a whey isolate. And then you want to look for one that's got minimal additives to it, okay, and one that's got, ideally, no artificial sweeteners, no artificial flavoring, and is low in sugar and any of these other additives that may not be so good for you. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're looking at processed foods. Processed doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Okay. What are some other examples of processed foods that I don't think are bad? Yogurt would be processed. Okay, not really so bad. Rice cakes as a carbohydrate source, they're actually really not a bad carbohydrate source. It's like if you get a brown rice cake, it's really not that bad, but it's a processed food. I don't think it's really that bad. Oatmeal is a processed food. So these are, again, examples that really I don't think are bad. Okay, you have to give me the reasons why they're bad. We have to weigh out all the pros and the cons and determine why something is, quote, bad, okay, or not good for you. All right, I think I've said enough on that. Next topic. Somebody asked, if you're a Fit in 10 member, do you have 24-hour access to the gym? No, as a Fit in 10 member, you do not have 24-hour access to the gym. If you are an unlimited class member and let me say this first of all. If you are a new person, that is, you weren't a member at our gym, and you've joined the challenge and you want to join classes, then we do give you a 50% discount as a Fit in 10 member. Now, if you fall within that, or if you already were obviously an unlimited class member, you get 24-hour access to the gym. If you don't want to be a class member, you can get a general membership to the gym, which will give you 24-hour access. But as just a Fit in 10 member, you don't get 24-hour access to the gym. All right. So I hope that answers your question. All right, message of the day. And this actually comes from She was never my coach. She was my very first coach I had in bodybuilding, which is back in 1998. She had a coach. This coach is still around. I still see her from time to time and talk to her. She's in her 50s now. She still competes in bodybuilding. She's a professional bodybuilder. Her name is Dawn. And Dawn had a saying that was, well, I don't know if she had this saying, but she said something in regards to, bodybuilding is something that whatever she put into it, she got exactly back in return. And so that's one thing that she really liked about it, and why she, so much fell in love with bodybuilding, is that whatever she put in, she got right back in return. So, generally speaking, barring any sort of metabolic disease or something, with exercise and diet, you get back, this is a quote of the day, you get back exactly what you put in. All right, you get back exactly what you put in. All right, so I want you guys to take responsibility if you're not totally happy with your results. And, I think for the most part, all of you should be very, very proud of yourselves. Just for joining this challenge, to be honest with you. It's a huge, huge leap jumping in this challenge, especially if you weren't even working out. So kudos to you on that. But, if you're not seeing what you want to see, take responsibility for that and put more into it. And I guarantee you'll get more in return, okay? Now, we can talk more about what that putting into it is, all right? But, just get closer to following the system, okay? Don't deviate tremendously from your diet, but then add in more exercise. It doesn't work like that, okay? Get as close as you can to following the system that I've laid out. All right, submit, commit. A lot of you aren't getting your 3 workouts in, your 3 weight training workouts, so you got to do that. Remember, weight training, I haven't talked about this yet. Weight training is your trusty friend in this challenge. I should talk about that in a future video. And I'm going to put it out here in Slack. We got to organize a group shop. It is a group grocery shop, okay? Putting it out on Slack by tonight. So let's organize that in the next week or 2. All right? I'll talk to you guys all soon. And hopefully I'll see you tonight at 7:15. No, sorry, 7:15. 7. See you guys.